My wife, Sarah, and I were supposed to be a team. We built a life together, a home, a future. No. So when she told me she had to rush to her mom's side, that she was seriously ill, I didn't hesitate. I packed her a bag, kissed her goodbye, and told her to call me with any updates. I spent that evening worrying, pacing the floor, my phone glued to my hand. But the call that came wasn't from Sarah. It was from my buddy Mark. He was out for his birthday and wanted me to join him for a quick drink. I told him I couldn't, explaining the situation with Sarah's mom. There was a weird pause on the line. He asked me, "Are you sure that's where she is?" A cold dread washed over me. Mark sent me a picture. There she was, not in a hospital waiting room, but in the middle of a packed nightclub, laughing with some guy's arm wrapped tightly around her waist. The background, the lights, the crowd, it was all unmistakable. The lie was so blatant, so cruel, it felt like a physical blow. My world tilted on its axis. The drive to the club was a blur of anger and heartbreak. Every memory we ever made flashed before my eyes, now tainted by this single, devastating image. I parked across the street, my heart pounding in my chest. And then I saw them, Sarah and this guy, stumbling out of the club, hands all over each other. They didn't even try to hide it. They hailed a cab, and on a gut instinct, I followed them. They didn't go to his place or a hotel. No, they went to our home, the home I thought was our sanctuary. I watched from the street as the lights in our bedroom window turned on, and then, after a while, off again. It was the ultimate betrayal. I sat there in the dark, the engine off, just staring at the house that was no longer a home. The hurt was so deep, it turned into something else. Something cold and sharp. I wasn't just heartbroken anymore. I was ready for a fight. The next morning, I walked in like nothing had happened. She was in the kitchen, making coffee, looking tired, but acting completely normal. She told me her mom was stable, and that she'd come home late to not wake me. The ease with which she lied was terrifying. She asked how my night was. I just smiled and said, "Quiet. Missed you." Every word was a struggle. Inside, a storm was raging. I needed proof. Irrefutable proof that would stand up anywhere, so I became a detective in my own life. I installed hidden cameras in the living room and bedroom, the kind that looked like smoke detectors. I put a voice-activated recorder in her car. It felt disgusting, like I was violating our shared space, but she had already burned that bridge. I just needed to document the ashes. But it was a waiting game now, and I had all the patience in the world. A week later, she did it again. My mom had a relapse, she said, her voice filled with fake concern. I need to go. I hugged her, told her I loved her, and watched her drive away. As soon as she was gone, I opened the live feed on my laptop. This time, she didn't even bother with a pretense. She drove straight to a fancy downtown restaurant. He was waiting for her at a secluded table. I watched them on my screen, toasting with wine, laughing. My hands were shaking. After dinner, they drove back to our house. Our home. I watched the whole sordid affair unfold on my laptop screen. The audio from the recorder in her car captured their conversations, their plans, their private jokes, the way they mocked me, talked about a future together, about how she would eventually leave me. The pain was immense, but with it came a chilling clarity. This wasn't just about a breakup anymore. This was about justice. I saved every file, backed everything up. I had my evidence. With the proof secure, my plan began to take shape. Sarah was a partner at a prestigious marketing firm, a company she helped build from the ground up. Her reputation was everything to her. Her business partner, David, was an old-school guy who valued loyalty and integrity above all else. He was also a friend. Scheduled a meeting with him under the guise of discussing a personal investment. In his office, I laid it all out. I played the recordings, showed him the videos. I watched his face go from confusion to shock, then to quiet, simmering anger. He was disgusted, not just by the affair, but by the fact she used her sick mother as a cover story. David's own mother had passed away a year prior after a long illness. The lie hit him on a personal level. He looked at me, his eyes full of sympathy and resolve, and said, "Let me handle this." Her downfall was swift and brutal. David called an emergency board meeting. He presented the evidence to the other partners. He painted a picture of a senior partner whose personal life was a web of deceit, questioning her judgment and integrity. He pointed out the potential reputational damage to the firm if this ever got out. The final nail in the coffin was the revelation that she had used a company credit card to pay for the expensive dinner with her lover. It was a clear violation of company policy. By the end of the day, Sarah was voted out. She was forced to sell her shares at a fraction of their value. She lost her company, her career, her reputation, all in one fell swoop. The call I got from a distraught, crying Sarah was music to my ears. She had no idea I was the architect of her ruin. When she came home that evening, utterly defeated, I was waiting for her. I had already packed my bags. Her things were in boxes piled up in the hallway. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just calmly handed her the divorce papers my lawyer had already prepared. I told her I know everything. The color drained from her face. I played a short clip from the car recorder on my phone, just enough for her to hear her own voice, laughing with him. The look of dawning horror in her eyes was exactly what I had imagined. "The house is in my name," I said softly. "The accounts have been frozen. You have 1 hour to take your things and go." There was no fight left in her. She just nodded, picked up a box, and walked out. The aftermath was quiet. Sold the house, moved to a new city, and started over. I never saw or spoke to Sarah again. I heard through the grapevine that she tried to sue, but with the evidence I had, no lawyer would touch her case. Her affair partner, it turned out, was married too. His wife found out, and their lives imploded as well. They didn't last. Sometimes late at night, I wonder if I went too far. The rage has faded, leaving behind a hollow echo. I destroyed her life as completely as she destroyed my trust. Was it justice or just revenge? I don't have an answer. All I know is that some betrayals leave a scar so deep you're never quite the same. And in the end, we both paid the price.
Thanks for listening.
If you have a story of your own, share it in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more true stories.